Hey, good morning, and welcome to 2020, a new day, a new year, a new decade, filled with promise, expectations. Maybe we're trying to get away from problems. We want 2020 and the 10 years that follow to be different in some way, or we want them to be better. We want them to be a time where we know rest and peace in a good way, where our energies come and bring about good things in our life. But you see, there's this problem that we all have. And Jesus acknowledges that, and he comes to us with a covenant promise, not just a promise that has no meaning, but a covenant promise that he guaranteed with his own life on the cross. He died to fulfill this covenant promise. One expression of this covenant promise of hope and encouragement is found in Matthew 11, where Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and you will find rest for your souls." He says, "I will give you rest." But then he says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart." This idea of taking a yoke, what Jesus is trying to explain to us is that we are all under a yoke. It's whether the issue is whether we're under the yoke of the burden of sin of this world, whether it's our sin or other people's sin, or just the horrific conditions that exist, hard relationships, things in our past, things in our future, things right now that burden us and weigh down on us. We all have a yoke of that sort. Sometimes we impose our own yoke and try and live up to our own expectations. A yoke is something that was used to guide oxen in ways that they didn't really want to go, but that yoke was needed to direct them. So that's the negative sense of yoke. But the positive sense of yoke is that if we put Jesus' yoke, he says, "Take my yoke upon you," because he's gentle and humble of heart. By having his yoke, that means we go in the direction that he would lead us. See, that acknowledges that you and I don't have the best way to go, but Jesus does. And he comes to us with this beautiful, beautiful promise right here in Matthew, where he says to me, "You will find rest for your souls if you take this yoke, my yoke. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." See, the yoke that we impose on ourselves is neither easy nor light. The yoke and the burden that is imposed upon us by the expectations of other people is heavy. The yoke that is imposed upon us by trying to live up to something we can't be is heavier still. But if we embrace the yoke that Jesus gives us, and we submit to his authority, submit to his covenant lordship, and follow him, he is promised with these beautiful words that his yoke is easy and his burden is light, and we will find rest. We will be refreshed. We will be made new. Think about embracing the yoke of Christ in 2020. Yes, it means giving up things that we want, but more importantly, it means throwing away that yoke of the world, that heavy burden, and replacing it with the gentle, kind yoke of Christ that leads us to areas where we wouldn't think of going, but when we get there, we wouldn't be any other place. Embrace the covenant lordship of Jesus Christ. Make his yoke your burden, and you will find refreshment. You will find hope. Lord bless you as you enter this new year, this new decade. We'll be back tomorrow with another thought. Thanks so much for being here. God bless you.